Saturday. Fernandez's first attempt only just went over, but he was given another chance on the half hour after a Valverde pass found Julio Salinas, who laid the ball back for Fernandez to make it 1-0. Barcelona's second came 8 minutes into the second half, Begiristain and Salinas keeping the ball in the air, for Begiristain to eventually control his shot and beat Atletico's reserve keeper, Agustin Eldayan. And things didn't get any better for the beleaguered Eldayan on his debut. 10 minutes later he was drawn out by Salinas, who then just slotted the ball beneath his arms. By then it was all academic for Barcelona and manager Cruyff, though with goal average in mind, Barcelona kept at it. Eldayan made a reflex save from Begiristain, who was brought down when he was going for the rebound, so poor Eldayan had the trauma of facing a penalty to add to his troubles. But he boosted his confidence somewhat by saving from Julio Alberto's spot kick. Despite a final effort by Atletico, Barcelona finished 3-0 winners, keeping alive faint hopes of winning the title. But those hopes were dashed only a day later when Real Madrid beat Espanyol in front of 90,000 delirious fans at the Bernabeu Stadium. Real in white needed the 2 points to be sure of the title, and Hugo Sanchez's pass to Butragueño set them on their way. That goal came after half an hour, Butragueño running through beautifully to latch on to Sanchez's pass. Sanchez himself made it 2 in the second half. Beating the offside trap, he chipped the keeper expertly. But the game came to a premature end for the Mexican international when his Latin temperament got the better of him. He disagreed too vehemently with the booking of Bernd Schuster and was sent off for his pains. It didn't worry Real unduly though. Even with 10 men they managed to add to their goal tally, Rafael Gordillo doing the damage. The victory gave Real the title. With 2 games left to play, they have 58 points, and although Barcelona can draw level, their goal average isn't good enough to steal the championship.
So more European First Divisions being finalised, among them Romania, where Stoa
Banter would mean a new Italian First Division points record for Inter. But it didn't look promising when Glenn Stromberg set up Nicolini and Inter a goal down after 5 minutes. No luck at the other end either. Lothar Matthäus with a shot spotted by Ferron through a crowded goal area. Then Madonna and Pasciullo combined to give Niccolini another sight of the champion's goal. Andy Bremer's long throw, Serena's flick, Diaz miskicks, and Inter are still behind. But Vertova's foul on Serena produced the first of 4 second-half penalties. Matthäus scored, and that's 1-1. 9 minutes later, Esposito on Bergami, penalty number 2. Matthäus again, but Ferron was the winner this time. Seconds later though, Serena's 21st goal of the season and one of his best, 2-1 to Inter. Immediately followed by the game's 3rd penalty, Bremer tripping Robert Pritz. Madonna fired past Zenga. Atalanta, who just had Fortunato sent off, were level again, but not for long. Pronya's foul on Serena, a 4th penalty. Serena took over himself this time and did the job effectively. Matthäus and Niccolini then both got red cards before Bremer hit this scorching free kick. 4-2, a match that made history, taking Inter to 56 points. Another eventful game in Turin, with Lazio still looking for a point or two to be sure of staying up. Gregucci's goal after 17 minutes, an encouraging start for Lazio. But they held that lead for just 4 minutes. Marocchi's cross met spectacularly by the diving Renato Busso. 3 minutes before half-time, a mistake by Napoli, seized upon by Ruben Sosa, who cleverly restored Lazio's advantage, 2-1. In the second half, Magrine's free kick bounced off a combination of Marocchi and Lazio's Picheda, 2-2, and that really undermined Lazio. Rui Barros to Luigi De Agostini, a cracking goal, 3-2 to Juventus after 66 minutes. And there was still time for Busso to take his tally to 7 in only 12 full appearances. At 19, Renato Busso has bags of promise. Next, it's Lecce against Cesena. Cesena concentrating very much on defence. And so, after Baroni's shot had been pushed out, Benedetti's miss looked very significant. The Hungarian Vincer replaced the suspended Argentinian Pasculi in Lecce's attack, but he found the going difficult. Lecce with plenty of possession, but so often a poor final ball. And Rossi, after an easy catch, sent Cesena forward for a rare attack. Some sloppy defending too, and finally Terranio kicked clear from Agostini. Lecce forced 10 corners in the game to Cesena's 2 to give you an idea of the territorial balance, but Cesena defended stoutly. They left Agostini upfield to do what he could on the rare occasion that Cesena pushed forward. 0-0, but the point useful to both clubs. Pisa's plight is virtually hopeless. They had held Milan in the away game in January, and when Marco van Basten pulled this shot wide, their spirits rose. And when 19-year-old Christian Lantignotti couldn't finish off a promising run. But after 33 minutes, Alberigo Evani sprinted at the Pisa defence, which then melted away from Van Basten, who had all the room in the world for his 13th league goal of the season. Giuseppe Incocciati spent 6 years with Milan and did his best to peg back his old club, but he now faces second division football next season. Van Basten settled Pisa's fate with his second goal 5 minutes after half-time. Pisa, beaten 2-0, are definitely down. Despite their disappointments this season, Roma still have an outside chance of qualifying for the UEFA Cup. Fiorentina ahead of them in that queue, so Roma started particularly briskly. Here's Massaro, ex-Fiorentina, his shot blocked by Glenn Hussein. But when Manfredonia seemed to trip Di Chiara, Fiorentina had a good claim for a penalty turned down. But after 33 minutes they did take the lead. Karobi's cross, Borgonovo taking his total for the season to 14. 3 minutes later, an excellent equaliser, Di Mauro and Bolla creating the Roma goal for Giannini. 1-1 at half-time, still well balanced in the second half. Di Chiara foiled by the recalled Tancredi. Manfredonia unsuccessful in trying to trick the referee to win a penalty. But Roma won the game. Some great play by the substitute, Renato. Not a goal for him, but there was one for Rudi Bolla, flinging himself to head in the rebound. The only disappointment for Roma, a red card for defender Emidio Odi. With their own ground being rebuilt, Sampdoria took on Verona in Florence. Good play here by Trollio for Verona, but no reward. Toninho Cereza with a free kick for Sampdoria, who 4 days earlier lost the first leg of the Italian Cup final 1-0 to Napoli. Here's Stefano Pellegrini, on to Victor. The cross too high for Vialli, but Bonomi's cross shot flashing wide. Bortolazzi still the Verona set-piece specialist, but a simple save this for Pagliuca. 0-0 at half-time. After 64 minutes though, Fausto Salsano with a superb shot for Sampdoria. And a sprint of celebration way back to his coach Vujadin Boskov and beyond. With Paccioni injured, Galdarese came on as a substitute for Verona. 8 months without a goal and his lack of confidence showed there. Galdarese scored 3 times in the first 2 games of the season, none since until 11 minutes from time. Brilliant work by Volpacina gave Galdarese a chance he didn't miss. His drought was over. But Verona had to endure an 86-minute winner for Sampdoria, a perceptive cross from Vialli. And Pradella headed past Cervone, who was slow off his line. Pagliuca then had a moment of uncertainty at the other end, but he survived it. Sampdoria won the match 2-1. Only 2 matches left, but only one issue definitely resolved at the bottom. Pisa, who commute between the top 2 divisions, are back in the second. Surely Como will accompany them, and 2 others from the pack of clubs above them will also go down. The top of the table confirms Inter's tally of 56 points, the new all-time high for a first division of 18 clubs. 12 points ahead of Napoli. They can reach 60 if they beat Fiorentina in their last home match and win next week away to Torino. Aldo Serena now has 22 goals, the latest 2 from that extraordinary game against Everton.
The Storm I think he's in no hurry really now, because he knows it. That man there definitely knows it. He's had so much experience. It's all over. And the championship race is almost all over anyway, because this will mean Bayern have now got 46 points, Cologne 42, and only 3 more games left to play. Barring miracles, the championship is Bayern Munich's yet again. Wolfat got the first to make it 1-0. Thomas Alofs, after a mix-up between Oman and Augenthaler, with his 17th league goal of the season, made it 1-1 the half-time score. It stayed that way until about the 85th minute, until 5 minutes from time. Tone, is he going to get number 4? Well, the referee's not going to give a penalty at this stage of the game. 5 minutes from time, Wolfat with a header, completely unmarked, made it 2-1. And then, as you saw just a minute ago, Wolfart got number 3. The final whistle has gone, and the final score is FC Cologne 1, Bayern Munich 3, and I'm sure the championship now on the way to Bayern Munich.
And needless to say, Bayern's most important victory of the season and proof too of their pedigree as championship material. Their striker, Roland Wolfart, is already being chased by Bologna in Italy, and you can hardly blame them. As if to emphasize his worth, in Bayern's final game of the season on the weekend, he scored not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 goals. Against relegation-threatened Bochum, Bayern were in the red shirts.
With the championship already in its grasp, Bayern Munich was to give relegation candidates Bochum a football lesson. It's perhaps unfair to single out one Bayern player, but Roland Wolfart played a major role, scoring his team's first goal in the 5th minute. A lapse in concentration at the back cost Bochum dearly. Wolfart pounced to make it 2-0 after just 15 minutes. No more goals in the first half, and in the second, Bayern had to wait until the 69th to score again, and who else but Wolfart. 68,000 fans had packed Munich's Olympic Stadium, and in the 72nd minute it was time for more celebrations. Olaf Thon making it 4-0. Bayern continued to push forward looking for more goals, and they did manage to secure a 5th after winning a penalty, which wasn't well received by the Bochum players. Nonetheless, Wolfart lined up and made no mistake, scoring his 4th goal and Bayern's 5th and final goal. Luckily for Bochum, they avoided the drop to the 2nd division after finishing equal with the Stuttgart Kickers. Surprisingly, Bochum had the superior goal difference, but it was Bayern Munich's day, and no one was to deny the fans a chance to celebrate. Bayern Munich 5, Bochum 0. Meantime, Real Madrid was paid the courtesy of a hero's welcome in their away match to Elche in Spain. But the way lowly Elche started, Real was in for a tough fight. After absorbing an enormous amount of pressure from the home team, Real could do nothing as Diaz broke the deadlock in classic fashion. Real had made 7 substitutions, and perhaps they were paying the price. Nonetheless, defender Jesus Solana, who'd been forced to switch to the midfield, equalised in the 26th minute after completely deceiving the Elche goalie, who was obviously expecting a cross. The goal spurred Real into action, and soon after they secured an important free kick just outside the box. Bernd Schuster lined up for the kick, which was put away by Llorente. In the second half, the Elche keeper made an even more embarrassing blunder in an attempt to save a header from Losada. Losada couldn't believe it, either could the goalie. Real 3, Elche 1. And in Milan, 1988 champions AC Milan and cup holders Sampdoria met in the Italian Super Cup. In the 13th minute, Vialli gave the keeper no chance. But Vialli's brilliant effort was nullified just 5 minutes later. A shot from Milan's Dutch import Frank Rijkaard was blocked and cleared away. And seconds later, Rijkaard went one step better, despite a good claim for handball against Marco van Basten. The goal stood and Milan was on level terms. The quality of play was excellent, considering the absence through injury of Milan's star Ruud Gullit and Sampdoria's Brazilian hero Cerezo. In the 73rd minute, however, Milan took the lead for the first time through substitute Graziano Magnari. And during injury time, Milan had an extra bonus, a penalty. Van Basten lined up and he didn't miss. He was rewarded for setting up the first 2 goals, as well as signing a new contract with the Italian Giants. AC Milan 3, Sampdoria 1.
Yes, I don't know about Gullit being better than Maradona. Maybe the question we should ask is Van Basten better than both of them? But getting back to how the Bundesliga finished, and it was Bayern with their 11th title.
Thinking he was home and dry once he passed Riese.
I'd even give the World Cup a shake. That match in a moment. First, Sweden against Brazil, with the Swedes in the blue.
The first half was a tight affair, with the only goal coming after 26 minutes following a patient build-up. Stefan Rahn accepted a pass from Klaus Ingersson, who rattled a shot past Brazilian keeper Acácio to give the Swedes a 1-0 lead. However, the replay shows a fundamental error.
Ezio Rossi, whose name is going to be recorded for that lunge into the back of Barbas. Well, 17 minutes left. 2-1 to Lecce. Well, is Barbas going to shoot from here? He is. And the shot was controlled in terms of accuracy, but it was not powerful enough. Oh, they've given it away! Oh, a crazy goal! It's Pacheco who scored. That will mean victory surely for Lecce and second division football for Torino. Marchegiani rolled it to Sabato. Sabato lost it. Marchegiani was just watching. He started to backpedal, but Pacheco got the shot brilliantly, really, up and over him. 3-1. And Pacheco, who's only got one goal all season before this one, ends his personal season on a very high note. You can't say the same about Torino, and Sabato might say he didn't want the ball thrown to him there, but he had the opportunity to deal with it rather than give it away like that. Barbas thinking quickly and just thinking back, of course it was another Barbas free kick that got the ball to Marchegiani in that extraordinary episode that led to the third goal for Lecce. We've had another episode here of a violent kind involving Giacomo Ferri. He has got to go off. He threw a punch, and however much he was provoked, that means an ejection. Torino are going out of the first division with some disgrace here. Ferri, who's been with the club since 1981, will feel the pain of relegation. But he'd been rebuked by Pasculi, and in fact it was a headbutt. He had to go. Giacomo Ferri, the older brother of the Italian international Riccardo Ferri, with Inter. What contrasting seasons the two brothers have had. So Torino must see out this 34th and last game of their programme with only 10 men. Comey. There's no need for Lecce to get themselves involved now. Enzo, the player who's still down on the ground. The secret of Lecce's mid-table position, and that's what it's going to be at the end of the season. Has been a terrific defensive record, really. Only 35 goals conceded now, and with the 34-game programme very nearly over. They haven't scored as many as they would have liked. The number 14 is Salvatore Nobile. Pachocco goes off, a scorer. Sabato. You just wonder the way Torino have been this season with the swapping of coaches and the ineffectiveness of their play, how quickly they're going to be able to come back to the First Division. In terms of tradition and reputation, there'll be a loss to the top flight, but that counts for very little on the field. And if you've been a regular viewer of our programmes, you will have seen them quite often over the latter part of the season. Good enough to beat Inter on their day, but not good enough to stay out of the bottom four. Lecce will look forward to next season. You can't say the same about Torino, beaten here 3-1, and that's very much a fair reflection with the goals from Benedetti, Barbas and Pachocco. Who's there for Torino, who had Ferri sent off. There will be a lot of rebuilding around the Torino club, I'm sure, in the next couple of months. And Lecce finish with a flourish. Elsewhere in the Italian First Division, Milan's majestic football was on display at Bologna, another of the clubs just above the waterline. Van Basten and Evani opened up Bologna after just 2 minutes, with Manari glancing in the header. Bologna almost repaired the damage. Alessio with the first header, Maronaro the second against the post. Bologna had drawn in Milan in February. They'd taken 5 points from 4 unbeaten games going into this match, and they should have equalised here. Bonetti drawing out Pinato, Rubio with an open goal but heading against the bar. Well, Milan don't give you too many chances, and soon Van Basten and Evani were back in business at the other end. A great cross by Evani, but the Dutch striker's shot was blocked. But Manari presented Van Basten with an easier chance 9 minutes before half-time. 2-0 to Milan. But 14 minutes into the second half, Marco Van Basten gave the ball away to Eraldo Pecci. Maronaro looking offside, but going on round David Pinato, who again replaced Giovanni Galli. 2-1, Bologna back in it. Back in it that was until Angelo Colombo hit a great volley. 3-1 after 76 minutes, and a Van Basten penalty made it 4-1 3 minutes from time. But in the league, Milan have had to play second fiddle to the new champions Inter, who celebrated their achievement prior to looking for revenge against Fiorentina, until last week the only team to beat them in the league this season. Only a brilliant save by Landucci stopped Ramon Diaz giving Inter an early lead. Then Bremer's cross, well read by his fellow West German Matthäus, again very close, but it was still 0-0, with Diaz thinking he had scored after half an hour, but a flag was up and the goal ruled out. Matthäus, just back from suspension, was then sent off for the second time in 2 weeks for retaliation here. Against 10 men, Fiorentina well placed for a double over Inter. If Mattei had scored, they might have got it. Then on the hour, Ramon Diaz struck a sensational goal, his 12th of the season. Bianchi added a second, and Inter's triumphant season ended with another win. For Juventus, it was a day of goodbyes against Verona, several players making their final appearances, including Barcelona-bound Michael Laudrup, who signed off with a goal after just 8 minutes. Verona, with only one win in 14 games, couldn't muster too much to spoil the farewells, Tacconi covering Galdaresi's shot. After 13 seasons, Antonio Cabrini is also moving on. So too is Altobelli, who couldn't quite reach a typically clever cross from Cabrini's excellent left foot. Volpacina is Verona's attacking left-back, often acting as their most dangerous forward. Finishing as Juventus top scorer, Rui Barros on target here after 72 minutes with a brilliant chip. 7 minutes later, the little man from Portugal took his season's tally to 12, Altobelli presenting him with an open goal. Roma and Atalanta have spent the second half of the season concentrating on European qualification. Two sides well matched, but Tancredi's 8th-minute foul on number 8, Esposito, gave Madonna a penalty, which tilted the balance Atalanta's way. But not for long. Roma responded to that blow in splendid fashion, though they had no justification in claiming a penalty here. Then Tempestili's deep cross, Manfredonia roaring in with a header. Perron suddenly a very busy goalkeeper. Geraldine the supplier this time, Voller the frustrated Roma player. Geraldine, wearing number 7, had a splendid match, setting up Desideri, who was wide. Roma playing with a passion that hasn't always been there this season. Perron troubled again by Voller. Another near miss, Geraldine himself this time. Atalanta under constant pressure, Perron coping with Giannini's effort, but 2 minutes before half-time, Atalanta finally cracked, and it was Giannini who did the damage. In the second half, Pasciullo dragged the ball across the face of the Roma goal before the siege resumed at the other end. Tempestili had the ball past Perron, only for the goal to be disallowed. But Roma were in no mood to fail, and after 66 minutes, Voller won the 2 points with his 10th goal of the season. Roma now play off against Fiorentina for a place in next season's UEFA Cup. Sampdoria met Cesena in Cremona because of developments at their own Genoa ground. Agostini showing here why he's had such a good season for Cesena. But by far and away the man of the match, Toninho Cerezo of Sampdoria, the Brazilian, with a volley here that was saved, but he was only finding the range. Look at this splendid shot, just tipped over by Rossi. At 34, Toninho Cerezo remains a craftsman. Vialli and Dossena involved in this move to set up a shot from Cerezo. How did the ball stay out? Chiti for Cesena tried to follow the Cerezo example, but wasn't too far away. Inevitably, Cerezo was involved in Sampdoria's first goal. A beautiful back heel for Roberto Mancini, who'd been on for just 3 minutes as a substitute for Dossena. This was the closest Cesena came to drawing level. Jozic leaping superbly, but the header, suspiciously from the Cesena viewpoint, pushed onto a post. Time for another terrific effort by Cerezo from a free kick, before Sampdoria wrapped up their league season with a very special goal 14 minutes from time. Goalkeeper Rossi rushing foolishly off his line, Mancini with the perfect lob, 2-0 to Sampdoria. One other result